move on then. Sugar stocks are in a sweet spot. The ethanol blending target seems to be on track. Let's discuss what this means for sugar companies. Atul Chaturvedi is the executive chairman at Shree Renuka Sugars and now joins us on the show. Thank you so much, Mr. Chaturvedi, for joining in. Now, given the fact that ethanol blending in petrol, the outlook for the next 2 years seems to be that it will be able to touch that 20% mark by 2025. Give us a sense as to, what levels of growth we're looking in the industry to transfer sugar from a commodity to an energy solution, something that has been, the ask for quite some time.
You're absolutely spot on. In fact, I've been saying for quite some time now that sugar need not be called a sugar sector. It needs to be called as the energy sector. And you rightly pointed out that ethanol blending program is absolutely on track. This year's target was about 10%, and I'm glad to inform that almost 10% blending ratio is being achieved as of now. But whether India will be able to achieve a 20% blending by 2025, I have a little bit of a doubt, in the sense that probably about 5 billion liters have been earmarked for the grain sector to provide the ethanol. Sugar sector is on track, but I'm not too sure whether the grain sector would be able to provide almost 5 billion liters of ethanol. And with grain prices moving northwards, it will still be a challenge. As far as sugar is concerned, sugar is absolutely on track, and sugar, the feedstock availability will be absolutely no issue whatsoever.
OMCs finalized tenders for about 385 crore litres, out of which about 353 crores had been contracted till date. What is the growth guidance that you're looking at when it comes to entering tenders with OMCs for the company?
No, I don't think there's any issue on that front. In fact, India is on track to supply about 4 billion liters from the sugar sector. And next year, we feel it can go up by another 500 million or maybe slightly more than that. And the diversion of sugar to ethanol this year, or sucrose as we call it in our parlance, is about 3.5 million tons. Next year, we feel that sugar sector would probably end up diverting more than 4 million tons of sugar or sucrose to ethanol. And according to all counts, the situation as of today is that the weather and the monsoon seems to be absolutely on track. So we can expect a big crop next year as well. So I think sugar sector, you rightly said, is in a sweet spot, and it's not likely to change in the foreseeable future. It's going to continue to be in a sweet spot.
Mr. Chaturvedi, but for your own business, what percentage of revenue actually comes from ethanol and distillery segment, and going forward, how the revenue mix is likely to shape up?
As of today, our ethanol capacity is about 720 KL per day, which we are jacking up to about 1400 KL PD. And our take is that the expanded capacity would come into play once the next season starts, which is about third quarter of this financial year. So we should be able to catch the season. If, in fact, the revenue stream as far as Renuka is concerned, it comprises of the refinery at Kandla and Haldia and the mills which we have. So if we take into account the ethanol contribution to our overall value, then it would be about 30%. And going forward, I won't be too surprised if we touch the magical figure of closer to about 40% of revenue being provided by ethanol.
Since we have you with us, Mr. Chaturvedi, could you throw some light in terms of how the pricing trends have been as far as sugar goes? And in terms of exports, we are hearing that the production in Brazil has been hit on account of certain, reasons. Is that likely to spur up the export demand as far as Indian sugar is concerned?
No, Indian sugar is probably one of the most competitive sugar in the world as of today. And our back of the envelope calculation tells us that we may be in a position to export 9 million tons or slightly higher than that. And the icing on the cake lately has been that the rupee has weakened quite a bit. And that is also going to be helping the exports pick up. But the only challenge as far as exports from India is concerned that our ports are actually chock-a-block with wheat moving, with the rice moving, and even sugar moving. So one challenge would be the logistics challenge. But I'm sure we are on track to export more than 9 million tons. And the icing on the cake is that in spite of this export level, we would still not be making the sugar too costly to the Indian consumer. So inflation as far as the sugar sector domestically is concerned would continue to be in check. And our calculations tell us that we may end the year with about 7 million tons of carry-out stock, so which is a safe bet. Absolutely no issues on that front.
Good to know. And finally then, Mr. Chaturvedi, what's the outlook when it comes to the expansion plans for your greenfield and brownfield for the distilleries business?
No, distilleries, as I told you, that we are expanding because we are quite hopeful that this ethanol play is something which is going to be a big game changer as far as the sugar sector is concerned. And right in the beginning, when we took over this company, we punted on ethanol being a very major contributor to our overall growth. And I'm happy to share that we've already expanded the capacity to 720 KL, which we will be expanding, or rather currently we are in the midst of expansion to about 1400. So as of this year, I think we supplied close to about 16 crore liters to the oil marketing companies. And next year we should be in a position to supply practically the double of that with the doubling of the capacity. And the sugar availability doesn't seem to be, the cane availability doesn't seem to be a problem because, as you know, Maharashtra and Karnataka this year have produced great figures as far as cane is concerned. And next year too seems to be on track.
Thank you for sharing with us that outlook, Mr. Chaturvedi. That's the word coming in from Shree Renuka Sugars. But let's take it